Yo, what's going on? And welcome back to Eclipse Theory Games podcast, where we bring you the latest in gaming news, indie reviews, and everything else under the sun. My name is Kendall, and I'm here with my co-host
Tony, aka Cooper Scooper.
All right, I can't talk shit about a nickname that got a genuine childlike laugh out of me. Like that was
That's right.
excellent. It's how easy is it to picture the shell scooping up. I'm sorry for paying that picture. Anyway, we
Yeah,
also
that
got
was
my
your fault.
man. Yeah, that's nah. You're not deflecting blame on me. You
You
brought
did it,
the
nigga.
you brought the paint and the canvas to me and was like, you can't be mad at my masterpiece. All right. Anyway,
I didn't
anyway,
tell
we
you the
gotta
paint.
we gotta introduce my dog back again, my man James. Welcome back, brother. I don't know why I'm saying that like you wasn't here on the last episode, but
I know. Yeah, I was here in the last couple ones,
I'm gonna say,
so
motherfucker,
listen,
I wasn't here.
it's hard to keep track at this point because, like I said, man, like life, adulting, all this stuff has been getting in the way of us recording. I know we've had a week or two off and whatnot, but we are back, man. Glad to have at least 3 or 4 of us here in the building again. You know what I'm saying? But we're actually going to do a pretty interesting one. We're going to take a brief break from the retro console recap episode where we're kind of going through tearing up all the consoles. We will come back for part 2 of that pretty soon, but I want to get everybody here for that, and that's going to be like, we're going to make it happen, I promise. But for now, we got a lot of industry news to talk about. So a couple interesting stories that we kind of want to focus on today. Not like the longest episode in the world, but some stuff that's happening that's really fascinating. And I want to start with the talk of the town this week, the thing that everybody's kind of focused on. Nintendo finally suing the developers of Palworld, Pocketpair, for patent infringement, it turns out. There's a lot to go into off of this one. You know what I mean? We got some articles here. One written from IGN by Wesley Yimpool, just kind of detailing the response of Palworld's developers, saying they have no idea what patents that they could have possibly broken. And some speculation from analysts, but just surface level, man, before we dig into everything, what do you guys' thoughts on Nintendo finally nutting up and doing this?
they're two different games. But uh, I mean, that's like
Yeah,
I don't know. That's what then Nintendo doing that to PlayStation All Stars and saying, "Oh, it's the same game as Super Smash Brothers or something." I mean, I think you can take likeness from something or see something, but like, "Ooh, that looks cool." But I mean, they're definitely two different types of games. I mean, yeah,
right,
if you want to say they were some similar character bases,
right.
sure. But I think when you do that, like I said, I think you're suing the wrong thing. Because I mean, again, if you change up a little bit of stuff, like it's like rappers when you do lyrics and you might change up a couple lyrics. I mean, it's not the same thing.
Right, it's like a sample versus like a homage or something
Yeah.
like that, Yeah, and that's the gray area that you kind of fall into. Um, and I agree with you. Like, this is a weird one for me because on the one hand, it's clear like what they're taking, and people made the immediate connection, like to the point of being like, wow, some of these look like they kind of pulled straight from Pokemon. But on the other hand, it's like Pokemon within a game that's not Pokemon. Like, Tony, I want to hear your thoughts on this too. Do you think that there's enough of a line there for them to like, get away with this, or do you think Nintendo has a case?
No, I think there's enough of a line. The issue is that you start having to get into the weeds about what exactly the patent is. Is it about the character designs? Um,
Mm,
maybe a specific thing in the gameplay? Because it's the issue that we have with Monolith and WB patenting the Nemesis system, so nobody else can fucking use it.
yes.
Um, so this to me, this is something Nintendo has to lose. Like this is a
Yeah.
slippery slope in gaming because you can go from that to Nintendo suing the developers of Tunic because it's a
Mm,
top-down Zelda clone. Like how how
yeah.
how much further can we really get? And then you consider all of the Metroidvanias that exist.
Right.
Like how far can you actually take this if they win? This is setting a really bad precedent. You talking about the entire roguelike genre basically getting dumped. Souls like basically getting dumped. Like there's a lot of things that there's a lot of implications for this that aren't good for gaming. So yeah, Nintendo's got to lose this one.
Feel you on that. Um, I definitely don't have much to push back on either of you guys' points. It's kind of like I said, on the one hand, I understand where like Nintendo could have a case here. That's like what I'm wondering if maybe like there's an element, because when you talk about patent infringement, I think a lot of the analysts and whatnot are talking about how it's a gameplay mechanic that they're suing over, not necessarily a character design or a character being stolen. Which, if it was for character designs, we'd all be like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I get why you say that, but it's not. It's for like what I've heard thrown around, and what kind of makes sense to me is that it could be because you catch them with like balls, because they like patented Pokeballs. And I thought about some of the other games because I enjoy some games that are a lot like Pokemon, like Temtem. I actually played Temtem for like, I didn't like get all the way through Temtem, but I put like 30, 40 hours into Temtem just because I like Pokemon's gameplay style. And Temtem has that exact gameplay style. They remix it in ways all their battles are 2v2, and there's like different types. So they change other things. But Temtem is a game that's made to play like Pokemon. Like you go to gyms and whatnot, but you catch the creatures on cards. You don't use balls or anything like that. So I started to think like that's true for a lot of games. There's another game called Nexomon where you catch them in like little triangles. And I'm like, is that the thing? Is that really the small ass thing that you got to make sure you maneuver around? Otherwise, until it can come for you? Because that's crazy.
I mean, I just have to agree with Tony. If you start doing that, then you can nitpick about a lot of stuff. So is Nintendo going to go back and sue Crash Racing because it's similar to Mario Kart? Like, is that what we're about to do? Like
imagine if they copyrighted the item boxes,
Yeah.
There's way too much to go into. I mean, it's like that meme, Can I see your test? Yeah, just make sure you change the answers, and it'd be like the little tiniest fucking change.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And there's a levels to that, you know what I mean? Like at a certain point, you are just cloning Pokemon. Don't do that, But when people bring their own flavor to it, out of all the games, those games that I just mentioned are trying to be like Pokemon. Like to their credit, they bring something new to the table. They mix it up in different ways, but it's very clear that they're playing. They're like it's like homage versus imitation. There's a lot of homage there. Whereas
also, how many Pokemon like games are there really?
Man,
like it'd be different if there were like 50.
Yeah, and like successful ones anyway. Like,
Yeah.
So Namco and I'm gonna sue them for making that damn Pokemon Tekken-like game because that game is similar to Tekken. Like, is that what we?
Oh yeah, Pocket Tournament.
Yeah,
Hey, like not if they get a little piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
Yeah, not if they
like
get broken off.
The way Nintendo sues, you would think they were an American company. It's fucking nuts.
Absolutely, it's crazy. But honestly, I'm just waiting to see how this plays out. Like what we're talking about here, because this will make a very clear line where like, oh, this is what I can't do. And honestly, it might open up the door for more Pokemon likes because now you know where you can like, stop at and be safe. In theory, like, you know what I mean? So hopefully we can kind of take this and get some good out of it, I hope. But yeah, let's stop patenting. I'm glad I wasn't the person that brought up the Nemesis system.
Because that pisses me off. I think about it literally once like every 2 weeks because I love that game so much. And I'm like, so many other developers could do Batman.
Come on,
Batman with a Nemesis dog. Come on.
Like, you don't even need Bat. Like, imagine like you working your way up the crime ladder in Gotham. Come on, like there's so much you can do. But here we are. Here we are in a world where you can patent gameplay mechanics that don't necessarily need to. I can understand if it's the crux of your game, if you invented something like that. But yeah, let's maybe relax a little bit, Nintendo. But
relax a lot.
Yeah. Let's completely chill. Like I don't expect that to happen, but just let's maybe not blow up these games as much. We kind of got to keep them on the hush when they get popular, like let them be like cult classics because this of those coming for heads, clearly. And speaking of things getting shut down, man, I guess we can pivot on to the second topic that I kind of wanted to address today, which was just kind of everything going on with Concord. Like, we don't need to break down each specific step of the quote unquote demise of Concord, but let's kind of start from the top, just to put this in context, because I think we all had the conversation of, is Concord going to make it when it was announced? It looked very interesting. The gameplay mechanics are very unique, but it's costing $40 out the gate when we're in a free-to-play world. We all kind of had our questions. The game is released. It lasts for a week and like 3 days, and then they shut it down. We all listen, knowing that I get that we kind of were like cynical about it, but I've never seen a game come out for 2 weeks and get shut down. And a game that was getting pushed as like it opened up a Sony showcase. Like they made a controller for this game. You gotta at least let it gestate for a minute and kind of see what the vibes are, like let it build its legs. There's so many games I thought were failing that aren't, like the finals. Finals is doing fine, apparently. But this game got no chance. Now, like I mean, I've heard that. I'm surprised as you are, but I've heard that. That it has like a solid little player base. And I enjoyed it. I think it's fun. But yeah, no, Concord's latest news is that the director actually is just stepping down from the studio, kind of taking a lower position, less of a overseeing position in the company to kind of help out with some things as they restructure and try to deal with everything that's going on with Concord. But again, man, I just want to hear y'all thoughts. I know we got some stuff to say about this one. How y'all feeling about Concord's situation?
I mean, I kind of get why they went 2 weeks and then got out. Because at that point, there's room to pivot. Yeah, you put money into doing the controller and you kind of showcase it as the game that you're kind of pushing as the next thing. But there's room to pivot. I mean, my issue with live service style games has always been that there's just too many and not enough time. And part of the problem with that is that a lot of these companies, I won't even blame it on the developers, a lot of these companies are treating live service games as a genre and not a business model. That shit is a business model, which is why you can't have this many and all of them be successful. The ones that already exist, Fortnite, PUBG, even Warzone came in late, but it's Call of Duty, so you had the name attached to it. Like that shit exists because the name is there. People have already established that this is the shit I'm playing. But live service games are not a genre. You can't keep pumping these out like RPGs. This is not something that, you can drop a Final Fantasy and then somebody else can drop a Tales game right behind it. And somebody's going to buy both of them because they're just going to go, I'm going to come back to it. You get a live service game, you have committed to doing that and that alone for at least the next 6 months. So this isn't the thing that you can, each studio can pump one out and think that they're going to get an equal market share. Nah.
That's a great point. Honestly, this is kind of a new thing too, like such a recent thing that we're still kind of understanding the market of, even if you did have something unique enough that you think is going to sell, which arguably Concord wasn't pushing enough of whatever they thought was going to be the selling point. Like I guess it was supposed to be the characters, which they were fun and the cutscenes were fun and whatnot, but I don't think it was enough for people to just dive in. That's another thing that people aren't going to get invested in just off rip, like looking at those characters and being like, oh, I want to hear more of these stories. So without that, it is just another time sink that maybe doesn't necessarily appeal to everybody who is just going to go back to Overwatch or wait for Marvel Rivals, which is another game coming up. Like, James, did this ever make you? I know you were like one of the most hyped people for Marvel Rivals here. Did this ever make you like stop and want to try it out, even in the way for that?
I bought it.
You bought Concord, okay?
Yeah, I had Concord.
I'm glad that you're here. Then you are one of like 60 people on Earth. Thank you. You got to dedicate that joint to a museum or something.
Yeah. Well, I got my money back, so I don't have.
Okay.
Just about everybody did.
Yeah.
But again, hero shooters and things is like my favorite type of newfound love of game. Most people know me, I play Overwatch 2. I was the one that really got everybody else to play Overwatch and things like that. And so like this one interested me just because of, like I said, the characters. But also when I did play the gameplay of the game was like amazing though. Like every person felt different. It's not like Overwatch, everybody does have different abilities, but like for the most part, like everybody feels the same. But this game, like, hey, like if you pick this character, like you have to spend time actually learning this character because you can't just pick up somebody else and think it's the same thing because it's not going to work that way. So they were going with the right way with that. I just think it's like what Tony said, when you do a live service game, you just got to understand certain things. One, I don't think a lot of people's attention span is like it used to be. So a lot of people are playing games and putting them down. So I think that was just a bad thing. And I think if any game was to do live service, quote unquote, to be successful, probably would be Destiny, if anything, because that's what they kind of preached at first too. That this game was supposed to last like 10 years and they're supposed to do all this other stuff, and they didn't do it. They lied.
They got close, right? Like,
but so I felt like you said, like if you're gonna do live service, like you really have to understand, like it's a commitment. It's not something that you can just get over. But I think, like, I'm okay with the $40 because it's $40 when the games now cost 70.
Right.
Even though a lot of games are free to play, but that's because they make more of their money off of the costumes and everything like that. So like even like we talk about Marvel Rivals, I know I'm going to spend a lot of money just buying them, just because the superheroes, and I actually get interested in doing that. But like I felt like with this, everything else was free, so they was doing it backwards, to where you're paying for the game, but then everything else will be free. You didn't have to pay extra and go down that road.
And it's funny that's kind of like backwards for this genre, where that's been forwards for like every game in history until now. But now that's just totally backwards. It's good.
But I just think also it's just also a lot of hero shooters out that do kind of make you like want to pick and choose. I mean, like I said, you bring out Concord, you still got Overwatch, you got Marvel Rivals coming out, you got I can't think of the other game that was on PC, but they just put it on consoles. Valorant, so you have a lot of different choices to where you don't have to stick with one. So it's like they were probably going to lose out, especially when Marvel Rivals come out. Because to me, like when I was playing that demo, that beta, I was on that thing every day. So, and this seeing seeing Cap and Winter Soldier come out, like they're going to make a lot of money just because of those characters' names.
Absolutely. And I was on the Concord beta as well. Like I had a lot of fun with that. I didn't buy the game, but I did actually get to experience it and see how different it was, and how you get different builds for the characters, and it was dope. It was bringing something different to the table. Once you try it out, some of those characters were very fun. Shorty who was teleporting is crazy. Like you can do. That I really enjoyed a lot of aspects of that game. And I think a lot of us went from why are they making this to can this game make it? Like can we make it through that first hurdle? And it was just kind of shocking to see how that played out. But yeah, I made a lot of really good points as far as why that happened, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think to piggyback off the Destiny point, I mean, I'm someone who has put hundreds of hours into Destiny. That shit became a job after a certain point, man. And that's what these live service games end up being if you get into it. Quite honestly, if they do it right. I mean, Tuesday was reset. I was sitting down in front of that TV every Tuesday at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whenever the reset time was, and I was picking my bounties up, and we was getting right back into the shit. Public events, raids, all of it was getting right back into the shit. And then Friday, Zer came through with an exotic. We was up there looking for Zer, and we ran through the weekend. Got to Monday, I gotta finish all my shit before reset. Reset come, we sitting right the fuck down. It was a fucking schedule.
Yeah.
Nobody has time to do that with 50 different versions of the live service shit. It's just there's no time for it.
It's just facts. And those are the people you need for your game to really flourish. Like the ones that are gonna fall in love with it and actually invest the money and like
I had to get off that narcotic, man.
Yep.
I stopped playing. The last time I played Destiny was like October of 2022, I think. That was the last time. Like I have put that shit down. I'm done.
I'm not gonna lie, you definitely sound like somebody that got off something real quick, Hey man, listen, it really is a different ball game out here because you can't just sink like your life into something. A lot of people, and then you gotta understand above all else, we live in Fortnite's world. Like this is the universe. We just kind of here. So that's the game that's got people locked down. Fortnite, like you said, Warzone, the games that people are locked in on already and just like are continuing to go. How many seasons is Fortnite on? I know they kind of like reset, but like these games have been going for like 15 years. Like I can't get in now. Right. I wanted to jump in that. I fell behind the jump in Destiny 2 because like when Destiny 1 came out, I was very much into Destiny because it was doing something totally different, and I'm always interested in trying that. So I played Destiny for quite a long time. I'm not even, again, I talk about this with Overwatch. I'm not even like big into like multiplayer shooters and stuff like that. But Destiny was so unique that I definitely enjoyed my time with it. But Destiny 2, it was so fast that it was just too much for me to delve into, like, and
You know
then
what's wild? Destiny
mhm,
2 is way more friendly to new people coming in right now than it is to people who were playing it and left it for a long time. When
which
I
is
came
crazy.
back, niggas was talking about, yeah, you got to fight these barrier champions and you got to have your shit set up to knock down their barriers. And then I'm like, wait, what? There were no fucking barrier champions the last time I was playing this shit. Then they reworked the whole masterwork system. Dog, like, if you're brand new to Destiny 2 and you want to get into it, you'll be able to pull it off.
Hmm.
If you took some time off, you might as well leave it.
And it's like that's crazy. Like there's so much complexity to making these systems work. Like that'll scare you. That'll scare the OGs off. Other games might scare the newcomers off. And you got to strike a balance between both of those things every single time one of these comes out. Man, this always just brings me back to stuff like Knockout City and like that era of games just coming out, because that was the era where everybody was just
Uh,
dropping.
Roller Champions, I'm
Roller
still mad
champions.
about. I'm still mad that didn't take off.
Yeah, like
Knockout
these games.
champions, man, that jump was fire.
Yeah, like that people forget all about that joint. Like it's a whole like wrestling battle royale. That's crazy. That's so different. And it
Yeah.
just did not make it. But it's a dark time we live in for these multiplayer games. I do want to go back to those days where you pay the $40 and the game is just all there. Like it's not reliant on the fan base continuing to pump money into it, because this side of gaming is the closest we have to mobile gaming and like the structure they have. And that shit is madhouse. It's gross over there. So
It's
let's not
nasty as fuck.
let's not get like that, please. Like we got some cool stuff over here.
The funny thing is that gaming is kind of turned into what the NFL is now. Like if you watch this season, a lot of the
Mm.
scoring is down, a lot of the passing numbers are down because teams are caught up to everybody passing again. So we running a lot of too high safety, and it's like, yo, motherfucker, just run the ball. Let's go back to the
Mhm.
80s. Just run the fucking ball and you'll be all right. Top two offenses in the league are the Saints and the Cardinals, and both of them got the best run rates against cover two. And you
Yeah.
look at gaming, we done got way into paying for cosmetics, all of this live service shit. The first person to just go back to like the $40 game where all the shit's on it back in the 90s and the 2000s, this shit's
Mhm.
gonna blow up. I
It's time to
promise.
go
The
back.
first person to go back is going to blow up.
Hey, you know what's funny? Like we already seeing that when you get games like Hades or like, all these indie games, Dead by Daylight and stuff like that that don't cost much, don't pump all this money into it. Like, hey, we ain't got to do all that. Just make a fun game.
Yeah.
That's what's flourishing. I'm glad you brought that up, because there's a whole other side of gaming where multiplayer games are killing it. Five Nights at Freddy's exists because that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Look at the
Still
empire
going
that
strong.
is. Yeah, like they got movies coming out, bro. Like, and look at what that started as. Like these games are crazy still. It's just that the AAA corporations who are like, how can we profit forever off this shit, can't figure it out, because it's tough. Like it's tough to
Yeah.
just make a cash cow.
There's a Caleb City video on YouTube where he was talking about how like the devs will be working on a game and then the company will come in, yo, this looks really good. Looks like you guys put a lot of passion and love into this. Now take half of it out. What? Take half of it out and then sell it back as DLC. It's just the whole process. And I'm like, damn, this is fucking sad.
It's depressing.
That's why I think eventually, like the single player genre is going to become stronger, especially when you have games that drop that like Wukong and is really like taking it back to like single player games and
Yeah. Shout out to the Chinese for that one.
Mm-hmm.
so
Honestly, like I feel like Wukong is the best example. Even if you like, because we could draw back to PlayStation and just what they've been doing since the PS4, and they've been kind of killing it on the single player games. But just on the broad spectrum, you can kind of see that Wukong. I don't even know what the sales are right now, but I know it sold like millions in the first like 3 days. Like I
They
know
did dumb numbers in the first three.
yeah, and I know there's a lot of stuff tied around Wukong and whatnot, but also I know that it's one of the most hype, craziest, most beautiful looking games I've ever seen. Like it deserved this success, and it's been hyped for years. And it's one of those games where it's like we almost didn't believe that we could do this, and they actually managed to make it happen. So maybe if you're gonna pump all your money into something, just make it an unforgettable experience. We got to figure out a way to get that over the multiplayer.
Come on, EA, like re-release, do a new Mass Effect, but the right way.
It's coming, bro. I believe that it's coming. I
Yep.
truly do.
What they need to do is just bring back EA Big. Give us street games, give us SSX, give us all of that shit back. And I promise this shit'll blow up.
Man, you do an NFL Street right now, like the first two.
Come on,
boy. Look, the esports game. Look, we'll be on the phone with Titus talking about, hey, you better get this one. Go get it.
Absolutely, 100%. But we are honestly at the point, bro, where it's like that money just sitting there. It's been sitting there for years. If they didn't do it by now, I don't understand. Why not? Like, I just don't get it.
It's like the Bloodborne remake. If they ain't done it by now, they ain't gonna do it.
Oh,
but
you know, like
that. Y'all need to let that go. We all need to let that go.
I'm gonna tell you, bro. Maybe we gotta. I'm holding out hope because that's just something that you gotta stop making money on before you start trying to get. Maybe
we just got an announcement. Well, not an announcement, but a rumor of the Horizon Zero Dawn first game remaster. We are not getting Bloodborne. Sony doesn't acknowledge anything before 2013, man.
Horizon and Days Gone. I'm one of those people that understands, hey, we had a PS4 game. We want to jump it over to PS5. They did this with Last of Us Remastered. People don't remember how quick that came out when PS4
came out really fast.
Real fast, bro. They've been doing this for a while, but
I get running Days Gone back. I get that one.
Yeah, you need to run that back.
Because that one, they're also making a movie of Days Gone, so I think that helps.
Yeah.
But I think what really helps was when Capcom redid the Resident Evils and how much money that came out. But it's also how better it really made it.
But yeah, they improved the gameplay experience. There's nothing to improve in Horizon Zero Dawn. That shit just dropped.
Really isn't.
But you think that, but think about, I don't know if you guys played Resident Evil 4 Remastered. That game has been remastered. I don't know what else you could have did, but they made that game better. I don't even know how you do that because Resident Evil 4 was already a great game.
It was a masterpiece. It really was. But I feel like we're not far enough to where, like, Resident Evil 4, you can make that kind of feel more modern or even make it feel scarier. Because, like, it was real action heavy after being, like, 1 and 2 kind of, 2 and 3 also. 3 kind of started leaning toward the action, but 4 was the moment where it was like, okay, we starting to get more into that. I feel like this one kind of took what Village learned about how to blend the horror and the action a little bit. Whereas I don't think Horizon has nothing like that yet. Like, I think that joint is still pretty fresh on people's mind. I just played Horizon. I can't even talk about this for real. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. But we'll see, man. I'm just like, why are you ignoring the elephant in the room? Like, at least talk about it. Little homie was in Astrobot, so what are we doing?
No, they're not. It's a wrap for that.
Yeah.
That's up there with Detox, man.
Hey, man, after we got a remake of Final Fantasy VII, I ain't counting anything out, bro. Absolutely not.
Like I tell people, I'm finally getting my Community movie, so I can never say nothing is never.
You know what? That's a damn good point.
We live in an era.
I never thought Community was getting their movie. Ever.
Our generation is getting all of our dreams, bro. We just got to embrace it and just keep.
The only real holdup with the Community movie was Donald Glover, and when he said he was doing it, I'm like, oh, we're good.
Yeah, because like that's the dude that's probably gonna be in like Peru the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think Donald Glover in Peru is a great place to end the episode. Did y'all have any last minute thoughts about the situation, like multiplayer games in general, or can we just move on like everybody did from
The only thing I will say is that in Palworld, that character does look like Lucario.
It does.
If you was going for the characters, I'd be like, all right, man. I mean,
that's the thing. Like, I can't argue character designs.
Yeah.
I totally get that one because he looks exactly like Lucario.
It's great.
But gameplay stuff. Like, come on.
Yep. Yeah, but we're gonna see, man. If they going for this, then that means they think they have a case. So we will try to keep you guys posted as we hear more. We'll see if that comes out later.
That ain't Nintendo. Nintendo ain't going this because they think they got a case. Nintendo doing it because they some goddamn bullies.
That's true. That's also true. Nintendo likes to flex on people. But in any case, we're going to keep track of all the news that we can get coming out of both of these stories. What happens with studio behind Palworld, the studios behind Concord. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe, because we definitely want that feedback from you guys. And go ahead and check out our YouTube page if you want to see some of our older content. We're still doing our retro recaps of all the consoles. So we're going back through from like the Super Nintendo all the way up through like PS3 generation. definitely check out some of those videos. Another one, while we on the air, I want to float this to y'all. We got to get James and Carl to do NFL roster. I know that's a big.
We got to run that
commitment.
one back. That's a yeah.
Man, listen, Lyles, I don't know if you remember when we did a roster, a whole NFL roster with video game characters.
We drafted them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I never did that, but yeah.
This was like early on.
We'll line it. Yeah, that was like episode 20 or something like that.
Bro, I still got the layout. We can make that happen real quick, just to honor NFL season being back. Even though we don't want to talk about what's going on right now, but
no, we do. I do.
We can leave it at what it is.
We can. We absolutely can.
Give Vic Fangio the fuck out of there. I'm sick of that goddamn defense. All that soft shit.
I feel it. We thought we brought in the real version of the defense that ain't been working. So
dog, look.
I don't know why y'all did that when that defense got 75 points put on them, but
right.
But, I'm old school as fuck. Line up, blitz a motherfucker, and run the ball. That's it. That's it. We ain't got to do this special trying to confuse motherfuckers. That soft zone shit is how mid quarterbacks have been eating and getting paid for years. I'm done with it.
I hope this take is cold as hell because this episode is probably dropping after the Saints Eagles game. So I hope this is the coldest take in the world.
Rashid Shaheed finna eat our lunch.
Hey, look, you heard it here first. If it's not, we recorded this on Friday.
I told my boy at work before the Monday night game. I said Kirk gonna give us 250 and 3 touchdowns. You know what he ended with? 241 and 2.
Man, it's.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Y'all never really had a good defensive back. Yeah, I don't know, man. He was like that speed on that man is it's crazy.
Yeah.
And Olave, I don't know Slade well Olave.
Slade getting over.
Q showing up. He
is.
But it's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be ugly.
Yep. So we're gonna end this on a pray for us.
I should have paid Lance Riddick.
Hey, you mean it's already, but nope. Look, honestly, it seemed like a lose-lose trade right now. But
there's always hope.
There's always hope. It is week 3, guys. Let's all calm down.
Trade for that nigga and give him 18 mil.
Only reason I'm saying it because the highest blitz person or highest person with the most pressures is Brandon Graham, and that man is like 48.
He's 175 years old.
It should not be the case in this man's last season, bro. We already, man. Listen, it's getting ugly out here. But listen, we could be here all day talking about our football woes. Let us know who you think is winning the Super Bowl in the comments below. But until next time, man. I am Kendall. This has been Tony and James, and make sure you guys keep gaming.